Now we can see a new world coming into view. A world in which there is the very real prospect of a new world order.
The new world order does not mean surrendering our national sovereignty or forfeiting our interests.
Our documentary is entitled Blinded by the Lies, and it is our endeavor today to show you, the viewer, how indeed the people of our country have been grossly deceived. Jim Floyd is an author, a researcher, and he is the foremost authority in the nation today on the subject of Morris Dees and the Southern Poverty Law Center. Jim is going to be peeling back the lies and the deception and communicating to you, the viewer, the truth about this very, very grave, this very critical subject. Now, we warn you that some of this subject matter is not pleasant to the ear, yet at the same time, it is of the utmost importance that you hear this information. Jim, can you tell our viewers, really in a nutshell, what it is that we're trying to accomplish through this documentary?
Well, first of all, Mr. Dees portrays himself always as our champion on a white horse, the high moral road. The papers I have before me show Mr. Morris Dees innocent of any qualification. I said any qualification to be a moral leader. As an Alabamian, I'm ashamed of him and for him. And it's high time that someone did something like this to show the real Morris Dees. I mean, you know, what we're saying here today, will the real Morris Dees please stand up? Not the movie image of this man, not this great and wonderful guy that goes around championing all these causes. No. The real Morris Dees. And by the time we're finished today, you're going to be as sick and as tired of this duplicity and hypocrisy as I am.
And let's talk about the background of this man, Morris Dees, his political background, his business background. What can you tell us about him in this regard?
Well, Morris Dees got his start back in at the first of the 70s, and he did it with money from Time Mirror Corporation out of Los Angeles. Morris was head of, along with a person named Fuller, Dees Marketing Group, or Dees and Fuller. The company showed a deficit of over $1 million. At the time when Time Warner bought it, and Morris Dees walked away with $5.5 million. In other words, Time Warner bought the organization that was $1 million plus in the hole and paid Morris Dees $5.5 million for it. They had a purpose. There was a motive. And Morris Dees knew what he was supposed to do. The origins of the Southern Poverty Law Center are as the origins of many other groups across the country. They're put forward for a social purpose, And this was financed by people with lots of money to do just exactly what Mr. Morris Dees has accomplished.
Now, what you're telling us, and I presume that the document that you're holding up outlines how this transference of funds took place after Morris Dees was in effect overnight made a wealthy man through this buyout mechanism. Then he went into the civil rights business. Now, It's been a pretty good business for him, hasn't it?
After we're finished today, people are going to wonder how in the world this man, in the publishing business back at the end of the 60s, with the intention, according to these certified papers, with the intention of publishing Bibles and children's books. The people that bought Morris Dees bought him for one purpose and one purpose only: a revolutionary change in this country. And for that, he has performed his duties very well.
Now, Jim, as far as his political background, he, back in these days that we're speaking of, he had some associations with what we could call some very left-leaning organizations and individuals, did he not?
Absolutely, and that's still his philosophy today. I consider Mr. Morris Dees a member of my state, a citizen of my state. I consider him nothing more than a Fabian socialist.
But now he considers himself to, in some way, be qualified or destined to occupy a very, very critical position. To say he's got a big ego, I'd say, would be a great understatement. Would you say that he verges on almost a megalomaniacal type mentality? He believes he should be Attorney General. Tell us a little bit about that, if you could, please.
This is what really irritates me. And I want to have fun doing this because I want to get off this defensive and get on the offensive. I want to be just like Morris Dees has been all this time, criticizing, denigrating good Christian people. Morris Dees has no respect for anyone when it comes to his libel and his denigration of Christian people. He does not care. He will lump you in a sack with every vile person in this country for his own benefit. And he's done this for years with impunity. Morris, this is your day, my friend. I want you to know we're tired of it. We're sick and tired of it. We're ashamed of you. We're ashamed for you. And I regret that you are a citizen of my state. No, sir. You are not a champion on a white horse. You do not occupy a place on the high moral road. And you, sir, are innocent of any qualification. These papers prove that you have been duplicitous and hypocritical your whole life. Morris has been nothing but one single extended long-term lie. And it's time someone stood up to you.
Now, Jim, of course, he advances would-be qualifications. What does Morris say about himself or think about himself? There are evidences of his great ego.
There is an interval in here where he was hopeful, after working in Jimmy Carter's presidential campaign, he was hopeful of becoming Attorney General. And he said, and I quote, "I deserve it. All the women love me, and I'm rich." Now, to him, in his twisted mind, that's qualification. He was obsessed with people who trying to get them to tell him that they loved him. We don't have to react only like Morris says for us to react. We don't have to only be the kind of person he wants. We got to love him to boot.
Now, Jim, many people think today, I'm quite certain, certain of this fact, that they believe that the Southern Poverty Law Center and Morris Dees, that they do a lot of wonderful work, that they engage in litigation on behalf of downtrodden people. To what extent does the Southern Poverty Law Center actually carry out litigation on behalf of downtrodden people? And if they succeed, how does this benefit those people? Or does it benefit Morris Dees and the Southern Poverty Law Center?
We confronted him all these years with this. And it got to the point to where him being the legal defender of poor people became so ridiculous, so absurd, that he wouldn't his staff and he lost confidence. They don't even believe it themselves. No, what Morris does, Morris puts his scare literature out, and this man has a treasure chest of $90 million. He's going for $100 million. That's his goal, stated goal. What he does, he puts the scare literature out God in heaven only knows how many small children go to bed with gnarling gut pains at night, hungry, black children in a housing project where their grandmother has sent money, limited resources, to Morris Dees because he sent this flashy brochure to say people like Floyd and people like the minister here are haters and terrorists and they're out to they're going to get you. It's the Klan all over again, he says. The Klan in Alabama is so sick they couldn't pull a wet prostitute out of the bed. That's how weak they are. It is unreal. Then he jumps on the militia. When he got the militia, he didn't get only the bad ones. He lumps them all together in his publication.